project, well 14 and 15, and we need to, put a better road to get to the wells so that they can service the wells and check on them. So there's 40,000 in there for that. The other thing I'd like to point out, you can see there's no more notes. The notes are gone. They're gone, but they're not gone. They were, they were rolled into the new loan for the water plant. So basically, these loans were paid off and then rolled into the new loan. So, but those were the notes that we've been carrying for quite a few years, and that was, on the, there was a water main improvement note, and there was the water plant engineering note, which basically, I believe we've been carrying that note since 2009, I think. And then the debt service, oh, this is the transfer, this is for the debt service to the bond retirement fund, $384,000, that's about the norm, that's gonna be around the normal payment on that water plant loan, every year for the next 39 years. And also the, water treatment plant reserve fund, we have to put aside 1/10 of a payment, into a reserve. So after 10 years, there'll be $384,000, $390 in that reserve that would be, you could use for a payment to the water plant. But that was a requirement, we had to set up a reserve. So after 10 years, that expense will go away. So, I think that's it for the water plant. I know it's a lot.
Convenient that John didn't show up.
Yeah, I know. But we told him that.
I gotta find a class in
Yeah, we already said he's gonna hear it. Oh, sewer fund, this one won't be as bad because, the sewer fund is, again, it's funded by sewer revenues. You have the wages, and it's pretty normal this year. Hopefully the water fund will be like that in a year or two, where, you know, you have your normal maintenance items, and every once in a while you have maybe some big item that, needs fixed. Like last year, we replaced the filters, and that's about a 5-year project. Every year we need to replace the filters, and we did that last year, so we're pretty good there. Like I said, I did put $50,000 in there for stormwater repairs, and, I mean, other than that, it's just, pretty normal. I know Brian doesn't have a whole lot of things. He wants to seal the driveway. I don't know if you've ever been back to the sewer plant, but, there's a paved road that goes back to the sewer plant. He'd like to get that sealed this year. That's one thing that he did want to do. But that's kind of normal maintenance items. Electric fund, another big one that has a lot of plans this year. Bear with me. Okay, again, the money in this revenue comes from the sale of electric. Also, we get some refunds from AMP Ohio for our JB5 and our Blue Creek Wind projects that we're in. Those are like credits that they give back to us in the form. In fact, we already got the JB5. It was almost 20,000. It was 19,000 something. But we already got that money. Again, the health insurance payments, and then the other item is I have there the AMP loan for a new building. And again, this is an in and out. We have $700,000 in there as a loan, and down below we have $700,000 for a new building. I know Lance and Doug have been working on this diligently, trying to get that number down. They're a little spooked, I think, when the fire station bids came in. So they're looking at different options and other ways of building that. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that, but the money is in there. Now we would be able to get the loan through AMP. That's really not a problem. AMP would loan us the money for that project. You have wages. Under the expenses, one of the big things is Doug wants to get a digger truck, which is $240,000, and that is, under the vehicle purchase. We have a $250,000 in there. So the estimate for a new digger truck is around $240,000. Also, the utility extension, a lot of that money, $400,000 in there. A lot of that is going to go for the 7 and 14 loop that he'd like to put in. And again, like I said, he can explain that a little better than I can. He does have some other items that he wants. There's always, but these again are kind of normal maintenance items: tree trimming, tree takedowns that we do, substation testing. Wants to do something with the tennis court lights this year and purchase some transformers. So those are kind of the normal items, but they are big items nonetheless.
Define digger trucks.
What we use to install utility poles. It's about 18 years old now, and last time I had it in for maintenance, they were suggesting to spend some high dollars on it, like upwards of close to $60,000. And I don't want to really put $60,000 into a 18-year-old piece of equipment, so that's why we're looking to get a new
So
one.
it's mainly to set poles and things like that.
Yeah,
Got a big auger on it?
yeah.
Okay, the next one should go pretty quick. We'll be out of here pretty soon. Wastewater treatment plant surplus fund. This is money that has been sitting in this fund, and that's for any kind of future debt obligations on the sewer plant. We still have a loan on the sewer plant. I believe probably about 28 more years. I think we've made about 12 years worth of payments on the sewer plant. And then the wastewater retirement bond, the bond retirement fund, this is where we transfer the money in there and we pay the bond. You can see the bond retirement and the interest. It's pretty much in and out. We transfer in $372,000 every year. The payment varies a little bit from year to year, so it goes up and down a little bit. The water treatment reserve fund, this is the same thing I talked about, the water treatment plant reserve fund. We're done funding this reserve because the plant now is over 10 years old, and we did the same thing for the water treatment plant or the wastewater treatment plant that we'll have to do with the water plant is set up that reserve. So there is money, that money in there is basically set up for the last payment that we would have on that sewer plant. And then the water treatment bond retirement fund, again, it's just like the other one. We transfer the money in here from the water fund, and this is for the payment of the bond on the new water plant. You can see how it's a lot larger than last year, but as I explained, that was based on money we received, where this year, that would be a normal year's payment for quite a while. The water treatment reserve fund, and I already touched on that, where that money is coming from the water fund into the reserve, and we have to do that for 10 years. The guaranteed deposit fund, this is money that comes in from people putting a deposit on the utility, and then when they move or close their accounts, then we refund that money out of here. So we do require a deposit for renters. We do not require a deposit for homeowners. This is just basically for renters, and so the money comes in from the deposit, and then we refund it out of this fund. Police pension, we do get money in from real estate taxes on the police pension fund. We also have to transfer some money out of the general fund into this fund to fund the police's pension. And basically, the only expense is for their pension. And this is for the city portion. This isn't for what they pay. They pay a portion just like OPRS. They pay a portion into this fund, and the city pays a portion. And this is the city's portion. And then there's the auditor and treasurer's fees. Law enforcement continuation training. Again, this money is for some training, and we get money in from the county, I believe, county and state, that we normally get reimbursed for training, and then once we get reimbursed, then we go ahead and turn around and spend it on more training. The income tax fund, touch on this a little bit. The income tax fund has been doing pretty good for the last 4 years. We've had about a 2% increase every year, except for last year. It did go back down a little bit from 16, it went down about 1.5%. It wasn't a big decrease, but it did decrease a little bit last year. So you can see I put a tiny bit of a decrease again into the projected revenues this year, but it's pretty close to what we've been getting in for the last year, couple of years. The salary, wages, and benefits, that's mostly just our income tax clerk and a portion of my wages also, since I deal with the income tax also. And then the expenses, we did last year, you can see where contracted services went up, and I still have about the same amount this year. We did bring in a temporary last year to help out with Sharon during the busy season, and we've kept her on. She's a real good worker, and so with the busy season coming back up, you know, pretty soon, we're gonna keep her on for a little bit longer, you know, and because she does need the help, and that we're getting caught up on some things. And then the other thing out of the income tax fund is the transfers that we make to the general fund and the capital projects fund. That's where funds, the majority of those two funds is the money coming from the income tax. And then of course there's refunds. We always issue some refunds.
Mike, did you look at all as to why the wage tax dropped last year?
Not really. I mean, it was hard to tell. We do have a breakdown. I could get you a breakdown of what, which portion decreased, some increased, some decreased. You know, we have a breakdown of individuals, businesses, their profits, and businesses withholding. Because if you're a business within the city, you're required to withhold the income tax and remit it to us. So Sharon does have a report I could get for you that shows where it decreased, where it decreased, and where it increased. But I think it's a combination of all of them.
I'd just be curious to see if we're looking at a trend. If there's something in there that says, well, this could be going down.
Well, that's a good point. It could be. I mean, we did just, I mean, this is just recent, but, you know, we lost a fairly good-sized employer. But like I said, for the last probably four or 5 years, it's been increasing every year, about 2%. It could be just a slowdown in the economy, just not real sure. But if we look at the breakdown, you can maybe see where it came, if it was business withholdings or if it was individuals, you know.
Yeah, if you can look at it and say, okay, we lost that money because we lost that employer, then that's fine.
Right.
That's not a trend, it's just happening.
Okay. The MI Federal Trust Fund, we haven't spent any money out of there. That's for any kind of necessary repairs on the Federal grave site. Columbiana Cemetery Endowment Fund, same thing. This was a donation from the Firestones Trust, and again, it was to be used. You could not use the principal, we could only use the interest, but we haven't spent any money out of there in years. Unclaimed money funds. These are stale checks, stale dated checks that we put into this fund once they're too old, and then after 5 years we can transfer that money to the general fund, which you can see that's what we did back in 2016. We transferred that money into the general fund because they were all over 5 years old. Now, once you know it, we didn't have any money appropriated last year, and we had a person come back and say, I found this check that's 2 years old, can I get it, can you give me it, can you replace it? So that's what, and we checked it out and it was legitimate, so, that's what we did. And so I did put some money in there this year in case, in fact we did, we had another person just recently, an income tax refund check that they didn't cash, and came back and wanted the money. So that's what that's used for. Self-funded health insurance, we still have a balance in there, but that, we no longer use that.
Because we no longer use it, and it's $57,000, and we haven't touched it in 2 years, is there any way we can transfer that money and use it toward this dog?
I'd have to check on that, Brian. I know when you transfer,
I mean, we haven't used it in 2 years.
Steve is in favor.
I mean, it makes sense, it's money that we set aside to cover that whenever we switched over.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know when you, there's only certain, like you can transfer funds from the general fund to any fund. But when you do it the other way, especially like a utility fund, if you wanted to transfer money out of the utility fund to another fund that is in the red,
this wouldn't be a utility fund though.
No, it's not, but that's what I'm saying, I'm just using that as an example. But you actually have to get a court ruling on it to do that.
Yeah. It seems like it would make more sense to use the money to pay for health insurance costs or health insurance.
Short the general fund by that amount and pay for the dog with it that way.
Yeah.
No difference.
Reading my mind.
Probably way more
I'll second that.
transparent.
I mean, it's there.
I'll put that under the creative economy.
I can help you with that.
All right, the Firestone Cemetery Trust Fund, this is money that we get in from investments, from the Firestone family, and, that goes to pay for the upkeep of the Firestone burial site, the maintenance of cutting grass, trimming bushes, breaking leaves, and we also do, we have a company come in and they clean the memorial every year, and, that's where we get that money from, and that's where we spend it for. Burton Liston Cemetery Trust Fund, again, this is a fund that was, established from the Burton Listons, $30,000 balance that was the principal you can't spend, but we could spend the interest that we've earned over the years, but we haven't spent anything on there, and that's for the upkeep of that grave site. And then the last two, bond retirement funds. The first one was for the assessments that we put in the Bittersweet Fairfield area and 7 and 14 water assessment, and the money that comes in here is from real estate taxes that the assessments were put on the homeowners or the property owners, and this goes to pay the debt, and that debt will be paid off in 2024. So that's getting near the end. And then the same with the special assessment fund. This is for the 7 and 14 water assessments that were put on. And again, this money that comes in goes to pay the debt, and this debt will be paid off in 2025. So that's the budget. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer.
I know that, kind of, joked about the cost of the dog. What are we expecting after the initial $50,000 to $60,000? What are we expecting maintenance on having a canine unit available from year to year?
The main expenses will be the initial funding of it. Then you look at life cycle costs in terms of vehicle replacement, in terms of the life cycle of the dog itself. We have a useful service life, and that just depends on if the dog stays healthy or gets injured. Really, the continuing costs include your food and your upkeep, your veterinary care, both of which at this point are donated. We anticipate that will continue, although we can't guarantee that. So those two expenses will be the chief ones that you see. We hope to have those continue to be donated. If they don't, they're nominal compared to the actual startup cost of the animal. Now, if the animal ages out or something happens so they get hip dysplasia or they're injured in the line of duty, you have to replace that animal, then of course you have to purchase a new animal. It's very difficult to predict that, but the general speaking, upkeep will be just precluded. The veterinary care after you initially fund it.
Can you insure one of these animals?
You can, and obviously they're treated much the same as a police officer is in terms of if you injure one, it's like you injured a police officer, and courts have not been at all hesitant to order restitution for damages caused to the canine or its equipment, And those are certainly things we pursue, and we will pursue actively. And they will be covered in our insurance policy in terms of, just like any other piece of city equipment or city employee, we cover that.
And just because I don't know, I've been told that a canine average lifespan for the actual work is about 3 years.
It's probably closer to 5, you'll get 5 to 7 depending on the activity of the dog, how much it's used, in a more active area, that's a bigger city where they're really banging them really hard and chasing people and all that, probably a little bit shorter. In a place like ours, probably a little bit longer, just depends, and it depends really on the health of the dog. That's what we're working with the Ohio State Highway Patrol, have state certified vendors that they use in a number of states, and they have really, really good and very expensive bloodlines. And the bloodlines, like any other type of thoroughbred horse or thoroughbred animal, the bloodlines tell the tale on how long they're gonna last and how prone they are to injury or illness. And so we're trying to get the highest quality dog we can get for the money we're spending, trying to mitigate that exact problem, as opposed to buying something that, you know, is an off-the-shelf type dog that may or may not be a pure bloodline dog. So those are things we're trying to mitigate that, but it just depends on the dog, and depends on how they're used, and depends on the things you do. For instance, Brian, one of the things he researched was which motor vehicles that you would buy for the dog that have the shortest jump for the dog to get in the back. That extends the service life. They're not jumping down off of a higher vehicle. It doesn't sound like much, but a couple of inches, you know, over 3 or 4 years, it begins to be wear and tear, just like if you were to jump that far, it bangs on your knees. So it's the same thing for a dog. So we're trying to mitigate that to the extent that we can. He fought all that. It's pretty amazing the things he fought. I asked him some pretty crazy questions he got answered.
Any questions on the budget? Hearing none, we'll move into the bill list. Bill list for March 6th. Any questions on it? Hearing none, we'll move into old business. Due to the length of the ordinances, can I have a motion to read them by title only?
Second.
Also like to note that D, under new business, will not be read as an emergency. It states in the language that it is. A roll call?
Lucas?
Yes.
Bob? Yes. Noah?
Yes.
Yes.
Sauter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Ordinance number 18-0-2948, second reading. An ordinance vacating a 10-foot unnamed alley and 1-foot strip reserved.
So moved.
Second.
Any comment? A roll call?
Bob? Yes. Noah?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Sauter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Under new business, ordinance number 18-0-2949, first reading. An ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Columbiana, state of Ohio for the year 2018, ending December 31st, 2018.
So moved. Second.
Any comment?
This is what we've been talking about for the last hour or so.
You're ashamed to let it down now.
You should talk about it for another hour.
Hey, what?
I'll leave while you review.
I'm not even gonna joke around.
Noah?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Sauter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Lucas?
Yes.
Bob? Yes.
Ordinance number 18-0-2950, first reading. An ordinance transferring $2,140,000 for the income tax fund, $1,070,000 to the general fund, $1,070,000 to the capital improvement fund, all for the payment of current expenses as they may arise.
Second.
Any comments? Roll call?
Becker?
Yes.
Sauer?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Fox? Yes. Miller?
Yes.
Ordinance number 18-0-2951, first reading. An ordinance transferring $470,000 from the general fund, $140,000 to the cemetery fund, $185,000 to the park fund, and $85,000 to the police pension fund, and $60,000 to the special assessment bond retirement fund, all for the payment of current expenses as they may arise.
So moved.
Second.
Any comment? A roll call?
Sauer?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Fox? Yes. Miller?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Ordinance number 18-0-2952, first reading. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Classical Construction LLC, 8162 Seacrest Road, Apple Creek, Ohio, 44606, for the necessary materials and construction for the Southside Fire Station project.
So moved. Second.
Any comment?
Lance, in the letter that came from Alton Berger, a number of alternative bids, are we planning on?
We haven't decided exactly which ones we're gonna do. We may buy the generator separately from this project, but, they're less than $50,000. So I think we're fine.
Okay, so I just, you know, I guess we don't have the exact contract and laid out that we're voting on.
So the base bid is $802,900.
That's what we're approving now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Roll call?
McBain?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Fox? Yes. Miller?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Sauer?
Yes.
Anyone from the public that would like to address council this evening? No? State your name, and address for the record.
Stephen Cusick, 1229 Columbiana, Lisbon Road, lot 48. It was last October. I live out at Southern Terrace Trailer Park, and you were going door to door for re-election. And there was a group of us walking down the street, and we stopped and we were all talking. And one of the questions brought up was about the $11 water bill fee for the water plant. And you made a comment that it was, you collected enough money, and it was gonna be coming off the water bill soon.
No, I made a comment that we've collected enough and we've spent it. I mean, that's what we just discussed tonight. That $1 million or so that was just paid for was out of it. And in my opinion, that we don't need it. I mean, I from day one said that we shouldn't have it, and I still feel that way. I don't believe that we need to collect on something now that the water plant's there. It's gonna be generating further revenue on its own. That was required by,
Yeah, you collected enough, I guess, from the city, and then the state.
That's my belief right now.
So it's.
We haven't seen anything from a financial statement that shows that money still isn't necessary based on the RCAP study that was done. Originally, they proposed that we collect 22, and we cut it in half, or the council at that time cut it in half. But that was based on the idea that that amount of money, we were looking at different alternatives on how to pay for the plant. And one was to collect a set charge for, on each meter basically, that's not exactly right, but it's close, or to increase the water rate. And the $11 charge was by the prior council, to be the best route to go. So I'd be happy to reconsider that to see whether or not we need it, but I think we need to look at the expenses and revenues that we expect to come in before we can make that kind of decision.
Sure, but I mean, you're talking for me personally, I didn't think we needed it from day one. I think it was required, to do something. They did. I think there were several people on the council at that time that wanted it to be less. A few wanted it to be more. That was what they settled on. But the funds had to be set aside to show, so that we could get the loan. We secured the loan.
And more importantly, the grant. Because, so here's how it works, is if a individual household income, average $43,000, the USDA requires, in order to give grants and loans, that a certain portion of, their median household income has to go towards water and sewer. So if it's not, if what we're charging wasn't, high enough, then what they're saying is, we can't give you, $11 million in grants if the people of Columbiana aren't paying their fair share from what the average is across at least the state of Ohio. So, put it differently, we weren't charging enough per 1,000 gallons, or we weren't. The individuals weren't paying enough in order to get either those grants or the funding sources, or they would just call and say, well, listen, we don't want to be giving more to the citizens than what they think they deserve, and that's from the USDA.
But, I mean, at this point, once the water plant is up and operational, we'll sure hope it's something that can be revisited.
I mean, we could revisit it, but we would have to go back in front of USDA, because if USDA looks at there and they say the Willard resident is paying an average of blank per 1,000 gallons, throughout the year, and their average water bill is this for 12 months. If that average isn't where they want it to be, they will make us keep it there, or they'll take our $11 million in grant money, or $8.4 million in grant money. There's $11 million in loan money. So
essentially, if we didn't collect it as a fee, we might have to charge a tax
correct.
upon our citizens in another format.
Well, we did put it in the rate. We put it in the rate.
Yeah, you can put it in rate. Yeah.
That way,
They didn't care how we got there.
yeah, that way the people that aren't using it wouldn't have to pay it. And the ones that are would pay it. Regardless, I think it's something that's worth at least looking at. But I didn't know we were gonna have this conversation. I would have been more prepared for you. Anything else? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Council comment?
Nice to see you guys, you superintendents. Mike, great job on the report, seriously. I know you take it very, very diligent in your performance there. But, they want to give all that, if the possibility of giving some of that money away for the dog, I think excellent as an idea. But, I still think that cemetery area needs a little bit of assistance too for, I don't know how you guys make it from the chapel clear back down to the office.
Not very well. I have one comment. It was on our packets at the last meeting, the Upper Room Fellowship Church is going to be hosting a Pray for Columbiana event on March 20th make the 9th generation. And, they asked me to just put it out on different social media stuff to spread the word, so I did. And a couple of people asked me, what's wrong with Columbiana? What's going on that we need to get together to pray? So, nothing specific, they just are doing it as a way to reach out to the community and, let them know that we care, that they're praying for everyone from city officials to, unique things that are going on within the city, and, they wanted us to know that they're supporting us, and that the entire public of the community is invited to be there to participate. I just wanted to, there's nothing specific bad that happened that prompted it, it was something positive. Any other comments? Your motion to adjourn.